Hello, freaks, geeks, basement dwellers, and nerds. Welcome to the Nerd Zone, and I'm Scruffy, and this is Scruffy Tales. We've been talking about a lot about Star Trek of late, so I think we need to diverge from that and delve into Star Wars and, well, frankly, the brilliance of General Veers and the depiction of one of the best battles in sci-fi history. So let's take a look. And the Battle of Hoth. I mean, this battle is 10 times better than anything we get in Dune or any other franchise up to this point, in terms of science fiction at least. This battle goes above and beyond expectations, and it shows Imperial tactics. It shows how unstoppable the Empire is. It shows that the rebellion is struggling and that they're on the run and that they can't hold their own against the might of the Empire. And part of it is, I think, due to the fact not only that the AT-AT are as indestructible as they are, but also, as we see in the battle itself, uh, Imperial tactics are on point, and a lot of it is down to the cool and determined nature of General Veers himself. And I mean, right off the bat, when the rebels spot the AT-AT coming in, we get a sense of what we're up against. We can see these huge behemoths in formation coming straight at us, and we understand that they are a force to be reckoned with. And we can already here at the start of the battle see that the Empire relies on tactics in their maneuvers. And as I will highlight a bit later on here, it is this formation that I think is key to the Empire's success. You have AT-AT up point, then you have two more trailing in a arrowhead formation, and then you have another two further behind. So they create a pentagon formation. And I think this helps the AT-AT overcome the downside of the design with only having all the weapon mounts up front. And you can see it throughout the battle that you have one AT-AT up front and another one trailing. So it follows this original tactical maneuvering that the Empire has chosen, that General Veers has chosen for this battle in question, this pentagon-style pentagon-style formation that allows rearward AT-ATs to protect the comrades further up ahead. And we see it throughout the battle, like I said, one AT-AT up front, another one trailing, as part of this larger formation of five AT-ATs moving in a pentagon-style formation. And we also know from the footage itself that they do have AT-STs walking around with them as support, more than likely out on the flanks to add flanking maneuvers and to add additional firepower and more than likely anti-air support to these larger lumbering behemoths. So why is this formation so brilliant? Well, here you have a pentagon formation that sort of mimics what we're seeing on screen. One up front trailing by two other AT-ATs in a wedge or arrowhead formation, and then two further behind in this pentagon shape. Studying the Battle of Hoth, it appears as if the Empire deployed 5 AT-AT in a pentagon formation. First of all, the formation allows all 5 AT-AT to engage targets up front with proper spacing. As you can see, the two trailing can open fire between the three forward ones, adding their firepower to the main push. Secondly, the two trailing AT-AT are in a good position to react to a potential flanking move by the enemy, protecting the AT-AT up front. Right? So if the enemy shows up on the flank, the two trailing can push out over and engage those targets or assist. So in this case, it's the two rightmost AT-AT. They turn to engage the flanking position, flanking enemy, and the last trailing can move up and add firepower to this fight, or push up and help out the last two forward-facing AT-AT to engage targets in front of the formation. So Having this formation allows the AT-AT to protect the flanks and engage targets that are trying to outflank them and exploit the fact that the AT-AT has their main firepower aiming forward. And being as tall as they are, it is easy for the AT-ATs to fire on targets behind cover, and it also allows them to target enemy vehicles on the much weaker top armor as they're firing from above and down. That should help them strike enemy vehicles where they are the weakest, on the top. Their height also allows for them to fire overhead of their own infantry when they have disembarked, providing the infantry with all the fire support they need as they advance on enemy positions. So if you can imagine stormtroopers moving down here, all 5 AT-AT in this formation can open fire straight ahead at the objective as the stormtroopers advance on the target. So I think what we're seeing on screen makes a lot of tactical sense based on the design of the AT-AT itself. And as we see in the battle, they do deploy AT-ATs right next, or AT-STs, sorry, right next to the AT-ATs, more than likely on the flanks. And we also know from background info, expanded universe, that each AT-AT carries, what is it, 2 or 4 speeder bikes. So if you have the speeder bikes out in front, like dispersed infantry or scouts, finding targets, springing ambushes, and then have the AT-STs on the flanks, you can advance in this type of formation. If the enemy shows up on the flanks, they have to deal with the have to first bypass the speeders, then they have to deal with the AT-STs, and this gives the AT-ATs all the time in the world to react to the threat on the flank, and they can reposition the 2 flanking AT-ATs to engage targets that are being slowed down and suppressed by AT-STs. The combined firepower here of this formation of these units should be enough to destroy most armored targets that the Empire might come across on the battlefield. And of course, each AT-AT carries, I do believe it is 40 stormtroopers, isn't it? That's the dog in the background, by the way. Sleeping right by my chair here. So once they are deployed, I mean, then you have a massive formation, lots of firepower, and the capability of engaging and clearing out a objective of any enemies that may hide in that objective, and you have enough firepower to engage enemy reinforcements trying to move in on that objective. So what took place at Hoth? Well, I would not be surprised if this is something what took place in the end. The AT-ATs, they move up. Like we said, they can fire well over the heads of the stormtroopers at the trenches. The rearmost AT-ATs can set up flank to positions to secure the flanks of the assaulting AT-ATs. You deploy ground forces that push up towards the objective. Some stormtroopers are held in reserve, and the other stormtroopers push up to engage. And then you have the AT-STs that are fast, carry a lot of firepower. They can quickly push up, engage the objective on the flank with the suppression that allows the stormtroopers to advance. And they are, of course, supported by the heavy firepower from the 3 forwardmost AT-ATs that support the assault infantry. So this more than likely happened at Hoth. You had the trenches up here. The AT-STs moved up on the flank and opened fire along the length of the trenches. Infantry eventually deployed from the assaulting AT-ATs and then pushed in and cleared out the trenches and allowed the Empire to gain access to Echo Base. So there you have it, the tactical brilliance of General Veers under fire, under pressure. His own personal AT-AT took multiple hits. He lost 2 AT-ATs in the fight. I bet you did not expect to lose 2, maybe 1 to incoming fire, but definitely not 2. And we saw the Empire relying on formations and tactics. And I think when you combine what we see on screen, what we know is available to the Empire, and what they could deploy to this battle, I think we saw a very, very well thought out and uh, yeah, well thought out battle for being a sci-fi movie. Usually we just see forces clashing like it's massive pub brawl, but here we saw tactics in play, formations used, and we saw a competent bad guy officer leading his troops in battle and overcoming the good guys. So I love the Battle of Hoth for all of these reasons. And with that said, I hope you enjoyed it. I hope I'll see you in the next one. Until then, long live the Empire.